Hello, welcome. So what are some business responses to sustainability issues? Let us explore this a little bit more. Nowadays, many firms are learning that being environmentally friendly and sustainable can actually have numerous benefits for the organization, including increased goodwill from the stakeholders and even money savings from being more efficient in your operations. Better environmental performance can increase revenues in several ways. First, through better access to certain markets, through differentiation of products, and through the sale of pollution control technology to other organizations and maybe even other industries that use it. Better environmental performance can reduce costs by improving risk management in stakeholder relationships and by reducing the amount of material and energy that you use. Also by reducing capital and labor costs and possibly by reducing fines from government for compliance or non-compliance at times. In terms of business response to sustainability issues, I think this model that was published in the Academy of Management Perspective journal helps you understand the various stakeholders and their perception or impact on the company's overall innovation strategy. So on top of the model, you have the firm's innovation strategy with regards to employees, regulators, consumers and purchasers and shareholders, and other external stakeholders like non-governmental agencies and various communities that are involved and impacted by what you do. All of these strategies provide opportunities for increasing your revenues, and they provide opportunities for reducing your cost. With regards to increasing revenues, you can think about better access to certain markets, differentiating your products from others in the industry, selling pollution control technologies to your competitors and those outside of your industry. As far as opportunities for cost reduction, think about risk management in relations with external stakeholders, cost of the material, energy, and services that you're offering, and obviously those that are supplying your organization, and reducing the cost of capital using efficient methods in the overall productivity of your labor, so reducing your labor cost. All of these are impacted by the other variables. So the more you can reduce costs, the more likely it's going to have an impact on your revenue generation. And the more revenues you generate, the more opportunities you have to reduce costs because of your ability to research and learn as much as possible. So the opportunities for increasing your revenues as well as reducing costs tends to determine your overall environmental performance as well as your economic performance in the environment, thereby impacting all relevant stakeholders' perception and hopefully your overall long-term success. You probably have heard quite a bit about green marketing. Well, green marketing is a strategic process which involves stakeholder assessment to create meaningful long-term relationships with customers while also maintaining and supporting and enhancing the natural environment where the company actually operates. Companies that want to become leaders in sustainability should embed sustainability into its values, into their norms and beliefs, into the overall corporate culture, which drives people's behavior and obviously makes them think about efficiency and sustainability every single day. Many products are now certified as green by environmental organizations such as Green Seal or Eco-Label. So these products actually carry a special logo that identifies them as being green. Unfortunately, there's also the concept of greenwashing that you may have heard about as well. Greenwashing involves misleading a consumer into thinking that a good or a service is more environmentally friendly than it really is. So you saw the Volkswagen emission scandal case, and unfortunately that's one of the biggest corporations that have used greenwashing to basically mislead not only consumers, but also to mislead government inspectors as well. The most common reason for greenwashing is to attract environmentally conscious consumers. Greenwashing may increase sales temporarily or in the short term, but unfortunately, keep in mind that this strategy can seriously backfire with criticism and decrease sales in the long term, as it did with the Volkswagen emission scandal, which costed them with billions and billions of dollars in penalties. Another challenge for greenhouse is determining whether companies are actually engaging in deception. Empirical studies in academic research does indicate that greenwashing destroys consumer trust, and it can create consumer confusion in perceived risks which are associated with green products. There is growing agreement that companies should work to protect and preserve sustainability by implementing several goals. Companies should strive to increase efficiency and eliminate waste on a continuous basis. Companies should rethink the concept of a product, utilizing a closed-loop system of manufacturing and use. Companies should have the price of products reflect their true cost, which can include the use of natural resources. And finally, businesses and companies should seek ways to make their commitment to the environment profitable. In other words, when you do good things for the environment, it should also pay off in the long term because of efficiency, because of pride, because of commitment of your employees as well as your customers, and repeat customers as well. Let us now talk a little bit about strategic implementation of environmental responsibility. How are we able to do sustainable practices in our operations? Well, one of the best practices is actually the recycling initiatives. Recycling is the reprocessing of materials, especially steel, aluminum, paper, glass, rubber, and some plastic for reuse. Companies and even local and regional governments are finding ways to recycle water to avoid discharging chemicals into the local rivers, in streams, and to preserve diminishing water supplies, because again, we're having shortages of drinkable water all around the globe. There's also stakeholder assessment. A stakeholder assessment process requires acknowledging and actually actively monitoring the environmental concerns of all legitimate stakeholders for your company, for your product, for your employees, and for your brand overall. Every company should have a process in place for identifying as well as for prioritizing the many claims and stakes on its business, and for dealing with trade-offs that are related to the impact on different stakeholders for the organization. Strong relationships with stakeholders involves the willingness to acknowledge as well as to openly address any potential conflicts that may exist between the company and its products as well as stakeholders. Oftentimes, obviously, is the bottom line conflict versus how much we can basically devote to efficiency compared to our competitors in the market or in the industry. There's also the issue of risk analysis that companies should be concerned about. Risk analysis allows companies to assess environmental risks that are associated with your specific business decisions, but the difficulty here lies in measuring the cost as well as the benefits of every single decision. Debate surrounding environmental issues forces corporate decision makers to weigh evidence and take some risks. Hopefully those are calculated risks, but without jeopardizing the health and safety concerns of employees or customers. Many environmental decisions involve trade-offs for various stakeholders' risks, and companies should use both formal as well as informal feedback methods to regularly and continually assess stakeholder relationships. A high commitment organization will actually incorporate new information and insights into their strategic planning process. In terms of strategic environmental audits, organizations highly committed to environmental responsibility need to conduct an audit of their efforts and report the results to all interested stakeholders to keep them up to date and also to mitigate some of the concerns that they might have, especially when some of the challenges regarding your competition are on the news. People might think that, okay, if this company is doing this, then this company that I'm involved with as a customer or as a stockholder may have the same problem. So you can reduce their concerns by reporting your best practices and what you're doing about it on a regular basis. You should also be concerned about the strategic sustainability audit, which companies that are socially responsible tend to do on an annual or periodic basis. For example, you can answer questions like, does the organization show a high commitment to a strategic environmental policy? Yes or no? Do employees know the environmental compliance policies of the organization? Do suppliers and customers recognize the organization's stand on environmental issues? Are managers familiar with the environmental strategies of other organizations in the industry? Has the organization compared its environmental initiatives with those of other firms? Is the company aware of the best practices in the environmental management regardless of the industry? Has the organization developed measurable performance standards for environmental compliance? Does the firm reconcile the need for consistent, responsible values with the needs of various stakeholders? Do the organization's philanthropic efforts consider environmental issues? Does the organization comply with all laws and regulations that relate to environmental impact? So hopefully you're able to assess your answers for all of these elements or such elements that relate to your company and your product and your service that you're offering, and then keep on improving on those. So having a strategic sustainability audit on a periodic basis should be the norm for almost all companies and all managers. Companies may wish to use globally accepted standards as benchmarks. For example, the ISO 14000 is a comprehensive set of environmental standards which encourage a cleaner, a safer, and a healthier world for everybody and for your operations. Companies that abide by this ISO 14000 standard must review their environmental management systems periodically, and they must identify all aspects of their operations that could impact the environment. So if you're assessing and regularly basically identifying all the areas, that means you're much more able to take precautions to avoid the risk associated with it. And God forbid, if something does go wrong, you'll be that much more prepared to deal with it effectively, efficiently, and take a leadership role in your industry about it. Remember that ethical behavior is a skill, and so is sustainability behaviors. It is a skill for everyone. Everyone in the organization needs to police, evaluate, and improve their sustainability muscles in thinking critically towards how they can be sustainable in every single task and every single department and throughout the organization. Everyone should be empowered to manage and guide effectively in their day-to-day tasks in departmental operations. Good luck.